All right, so let's get started. We're going to start today in a comfortable seated position, and I'm actually sitting up on a block with my bottom on the block and my ankles straddling the block. You can sit with your hips on your heels if you prefer to take a cross-legged position. That's also fine as well. And just let your hands rest however they're comfortable. No special organization of the hands today as we begin our class. I'd like you to close the eyes or simply soften your gaze down toward the floor here. And bring your awareness to your tailbone. This is the very base of your spine. And sometimes we hold some tension there. We're gripping a little bit. And you might notice that as you first take your seat, there's a tendency to keep yourself lifted and gripped in that area. And I want you to see if right off the bat here at the beginning of class, you can bring with your attention to that area some sense of release. And as you let the tailbone relax slightly, you might feel your sitting bones. You might feel a little more grounded and present in your seat. And with that stability in your seat, start to bring your attention to your breath. Just notice any ways that you might describe the current breath, just as it's showing up right now. And the descriptions are not judgments, they're just observations. As we move through the practice, you may notice that the breath shifts. And so just taking a moment to check in, see how we're starting today. What is the baseline? And then in this seated position for the last few moments here of getting started, notice your posture. In particular, notice the chest, the upper back area, the neck. Maybe there's a place there among those parts where you tend to hold your tension or tightness, and again, seeing if shining the light of awareness on those areas brings some release of the gripping. You might even feel like you want to rearrange yourself slightly. So starting to tend to the body and tend to the breath. On your next inhalation, let the arms float up to the sides with the palms up, and then reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, float the palms down, and imagine as though you could pull the arms, stretch the arms apart as you slowly lower. And the sensation as if you're moving through water. As you inhale, arms rise. As you exhale, arms pull apart and descend. And as you're moving like this through the arms and with the breath, I want you to bring at least a piece of your attention down to that tailbone and notice if as you take the arms up, you're gripping through the lower body, or you're lifting yourself off your seat. And continue to move the arms while you relax the lower body and root down more firmly. So the stretch comes through the sides of the waist. We'll do one more like this. Good. On your next inhale, take the right arm out to the side, reach it up over the head. And as you exhale, set the left fingertips on the floor and lean to the side. Now we'll stay here. So keep the chest open. Next inhale, take the top arm and reach it back and see if you can find a nice stretch in the front of the chest and the front of the shoulder. As you exhale, imagine as though you can throw a ball at a diagonal. Palm will face down. You'll round the spine a little bit like you're coming into a cat pose. And then inhale, open the arm back up. Lift the chest. Take the arm back to where it's comfortable. Exhale, throwing the ball at a diagonal to the corner, rounding the spine. And two more like this. Inhale, lift and open. Your range of motion might change as you move through the poses. Don't force anything, just feel and breathe. Good. Next time you inhale, float the arm up and then lift your torso up, both arms out to the sides. Exhale, let the arms come down and then take a roll of the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Good. Feel the tailbone. Let it relax. Let it descend. And we'll do the other side. So inhale, left arm out to the side. Reach up. As you exhale, fingertips to the floor. You can also bring your hand onto a block if you have one. Stay here. Open through the chest. And then inhale, take the arm back. You can follow the thumb with your eyes or your gaze if it's comfortable for your neck. As you exhale, rounding, throwing the ball at the diagonal, palm will face down. And then inhale, open up. Exhale, throw the ball. You can draw the navel into the spine. And we'll do two more like this. Become aware of any differences in how the sides of the body feel. You might hold more tightness in one side. Just becoming an observer of your own body, your own breath. Next time you inhale, you'll float the arm up, bring your torso up, both arms out to the sides, and then exhale, lower the arms. Let the hands rest in the lap, however they're comfortable. Once again, relaxing into your seat. Take a breath in here. Exhale, drop the chin down to your chest. Take a breath in. Exhale, take your right ear toward your right shoulder. And then inhale, chin to chest. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. And side to side like this. Inhale, chin to chest. Exhale, rock it to the side. Good. Moving with the breath, moving slowly. And keeping the other parts of the body relaxed. So as you feel some sensation in the sides of the neck, maybe even the upper back or the shoulders, the rest of the body is stable and comfortable. We'll take one more in each direction. And when your sides are even, chin down to the chest, pause. Next, inhale, bring the head back up to center. Excellent. Let the arms relax down to your sides. If you're sitting cross-legged, you may want to change the cross of your legs here. Make yourself comfortable and even in your sides. If you're still with hips on heels, you can stay here. We'll just do a couple more things. So next, inhale, take your right shoulder forward, bring it up toward your ear. And then exhale, roll the elbow back. And then set the arm down, shake out the arm. Good. Again, on the other side, inhale forward and up. Exhale back and down and shake. Both arms together. Inhale forward and up. Exhale back and down and shake the arms. We'll do one more set like that, right, left, and then together. And I just want to point out that the reason we're shaking the arm, we're loosening it out, that's a critical part of this movement, which I love to do. This helps us improve our posture, open the chest, release some of the slumping forward that we do when we sit at our computers. But the shaking out, the relaxing of the arms really is communicating to the body that this is a nice place to be. This position we're placing the body in is a nice place to be. So just encouraging the body to stay in that posture. Now notice your tailbone once again, let it relax down into your seat. And then let's take the hands together and you'll make a prayer pose with the hands. And you can have the fingers a little bit apart. I want you to make sure that the shoulders don't come up to the ears, so relax them down. Little gentle press of all the fingers against each other, and then start to lower the hands slightly. Keep the elbows out to the side, and you'll feel a point where the hands want to come apart. So don't go to that place, just keep the hands together. And a gentle press of all the fingers. Usually the pressing happens in one particular area, so can you distribute that gentle press? And then start to send your fingers to point down toward the mat. And maintain that gentle press. Check in with the shoulders, they'll want to come up. Right? Point the fingers down, gentle press of the hands. Take one more breath in. And one more breath out. Good, release, and just shake out the wrists a little bit. Spread out the fingers. Excellent. So come off your seat, come onto your hands and knees, and we'll take a few rounds of cat and cow pose. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Spread out the fingers so that somebody could trace your hand with a pencil. And as you inhale, go ahead and lift your chest. Keep your collarbones spread out nice and wide till your tailbone up, gazing forward but down toward your mat. Exhale, draw the navel in and up, and gently press the floor away with the hands as you drop the head. And then inhale, lifting back up. Feeling the back arch. And as you move through cat and cow today for a few rounds of breath, seeing if you can bring your attention down to that tailbone. So in the cow pose, we're used to tilting it up, but what happens? Can you relax it down as you go into the cat pose? Let's do two more like this. And when you're finished with those two, I'd like you to come into the cow pose, so with the back arch, belly down, right? And then hug the navel in just to flatten out the back. Hold those lower abdominal muscles in. You'll tuck your toes under and just hover your knees 1 inch above the mat. Try not to lose that nice flat back. Press your hips back like you're going into a child's pose. So you're into a squat on the balls of your feet. And then start to straighten your legs as you take your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Keep a bend of your knees. Keep your heels up and keep pulling the belly in. Drop your head so that it's between your elbows. And make sure you have a little bend of your elbows as well. Try not to over straighten the arms and try not to over straighten the legs. Take 2 more breaths here. Can you take your thighs back any amount more so the weight on the hands is less? Next time you inhale, walk your feet up to your hands. You're going to come to a forward fold with your feet apart. Bend your knees so you can lay your torso on your thighs and relax your head completely. Good. And maybe the fingertips touch the floor or the tops of the feet or the ankles. Don't be afraid to bend the knees here. Shake out the shoulders a little bit. Let the top of the head move toward the floor. And then bring your attention to that tailbone and see if you can lift the tailbone higher to the sky. But don't lose the peace and the ease in the upper back and the shoulders and the head to do so. The next time you inhale, bring your hands to the thighs, to the upper legs. Come up halfway. Keep a bend in the knees and press your hands into your thighs so you can draw your shoulders down away from your ears and move the top of your head toward the front of your mat. And then exhale, bend the knees and release that. Completely let go. We'll do that again. So inhale, come up halfway and physically press your hands into your thighs and pull your chest forward. And then exhale, let it go. Last one like that. Inhale, lift, press. Exhale and release. Good. This time we'll inhale, come up to that halfway lift. Good. So press your chest forward, pull your belly in, keep that little bend in the knees, and then pressing into the feet, stand all the way up. All the way up. Good. And we'll start with feet hip width distance apart, all 10 toes facing forward. So there's a comfortable distance between the legs, arms at the sides, mountain pose here, and see if you can come into a relaxed mountain pose. So oftentimes we're very worried about the posture, and certainly mountain pose, we want to have a nice upright posture, but can we find a little more ease so it's not so rigid, right? So first thing you want to do is have a little bend of the knees to release that tailbone down toward your heels. Right, and remember the rolling of the shoulders that we did when we shook out the arms. So just remind the shoulders by shaking out the arms a little bit that where do they want to be? Shoulder blades together a little bit behind the back to broaden across the chest, arms down at the sides. Good. Next time you inhale, arms out to the sides, palms up, just like we did at the beginning of class. This time as you exhale, bring the palms together, bring them down in front of your heart center and bend the knees a little bit into a squat. And then inhale, release the hands down to the sides, stand up straight, arms up over the head. And exhale, palms come together, bend the knees. You can bring a little weight back into the heels so you can lift the toes up and wiggle them here. Good, couple more like this. Remembering that feeling of moving through water, there's no rush. No rush. Feel the transition through the movements. It's not about just getting the arms over the head and getting into the chair pose here. It's about feeling where the arms are at any given moment. Are they working together? Is one arm moving faster than the other? So option on this one is you inhale, you can rise up onto the balls of the feet or lift the heels just a bit. And as you exhale and the palms come together, you'll set the heels down and then come into the squat. So we'll do two more like this. The lifting of the heels is optional. And you don't have to lift high. Even if you just hover the heels above the mat, you are working on your balance, especially if you're moving slowly. Good, one more here. Inhale. And exhale. Good, stay in your squat. Stay in your squat. So you might adjust so you come up a little higher. All right, I want you to keep the chest open and lifted. Remember that press of the hands here? So press gently all the fingers together. Sit the weight back into your heels. Lift your toes, wiggle them a little bit. And then soften your gaze, stay calm. take one more breath in. And then exhale, bow forward over your legs, hands to the earth, head to the earth. Shake out the shoulders. Inhale, come into your halfway lift, hands to your thighs, press yourself long, and then come all the way up to standing, all the way up. Excellent. So hands on your hips, let's take the feet out wide. And we want to, for this movement, start with all the toes facing forward. And then you're going to take the left toes and face them to the short edge of your mat. So your stance is a little bit different from the front leg to the back leg. And again, hands on the hips. We're going to focus on the tailbone, relax it down. So sometimes the back will want to arch, or because we're in this position, we'll want to kick that back hip out. I want you to just think about the tailbone drawing straight down between the legs, hands on the hips. Front knee is straight but not locked. And I want you to direct your energy into the little toe side of the right foot. So you're pressing that leg and that foot into the floor, but again, not locking the back knee either. As you inhale, both arms out to the side, shoulder height, palms down. Relax the shoulders. Exhale, tilt your body over that front leg. Let the hand come down. Let the top arm reach up and over. And then inhale, press into both feet to come up, arms out to the sides. We'll do that again. Exhale. Legs are really strong here. And that flow, again, as if we're moving through water. So the speed is regulated. We're not going quickly. There's no quick stops or starts. One movement flows into the next. Let's do one more here. Little toe side of that right foot works. Inhale, come on up. Good. Exhale, give the arms a rest, hands to the hips. And then we're going to switch the position of the feet. So the left toes will turn in and the right toes will turn out. And just take a moment to feel the feet spread out the toes. And once again, both of the knees have this little micro bend. And your attention is going down through the little toe side of the left foot now. All right? And then we'll inhale, take the arms up halfway. Same thing on this side. Exhale. Tilt your body. Keep that energy moving into the back leg as you reach the arm up and over. You can turn the palm down and then inhale and bring yourself up. So the legs stay strong. The torso flows in and out of the pose. And we'll do two more like this. Good, and next time you're lifted, let the arms float down to the hips. We'll turn those right toes to face in. Make sure the toes are on the same line. Legs nice and wide. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, bend your knees. Take your hands to your thighs and start to slide your hands down the legs into a wide version of that forward bend. Good, and if it's available to you, you can put the hands on the floor or on a block just in front of your head. And wherever you are with the knees slightly bent, I'd like you to think once again about taking that tailbone up toward the ceiling. Take two more breaths here. And then using an inhale, hands to the thighs. Remember to draw the navel in and up. Press into the outer edges of the feet. And come all the way up to standing. Good, now turn the heels in. So the toes are gonna point out. Good, next inhale, arms come out to the sides, shoulder height. If you have a tendency to bring the shoulders up into the ears, just flip the palms to face up and actually try that now. Turn the palms to face up. Notice how the shoulders might drop a little bit. So keep that sensation in the shoulders, just flip the palms to face over, to face down. Good. And then gently pull the arms apart as if you could touch the sides of the room with the fingertips. Press down into the feet while bending the knees slightly and reach the top of your head up toward the ceiling. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And next exhale, bend your knees, bend your elbows, bring your palms to face one another, but keep those elbows shoulder height. And then inhale, open back up into 5-pointed star. Exhale, sit down into the goddess pose. And how low you sit in goddess is totally up to you. We'll move in and out of the pose, and then we'll spend some time holding the goddess pose. So just feeling the inner thighs, keeping the knees moving toward the back of your space. Good, last one moving. Inhale, open up. And then exhale and sit down. We're gonna stay. Good, and you might take the elbows back a little bit more to open across the front of the chest. Relax the tailbone down. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Feel the strength of the legs. Inhale, come on up, expand. Exhale, let the arms come down. Good, and then toe heel your feet into they're about shoulder width distance apart. Place the hands on the hips and just start to rock the hips side to side. Just rock the hips side to side. And then you can begin to take the hips into circles. So sometimes when we do that strength work with the legs, we can feel that in the hips. So we just want to work out some of that tension. And go around a couple more times in this direction, and then we're going to switch. Good, so switch to the other direction if you haven't already. Notice any difference in how it feels to make the circles when you're going the opposite way of what might feel comfortable and natural. Good, one more time around. And then pause here. Excellent, bring the feet back underneath your hips. So all the toes still facing forward. And hands on the hips for mountain pose. And just rock yourself a little bit forward and a little bit back on your feet. So you feel your weight come into the balls of your feet, maybe even into the toes. They'll grip a little bit. And then send your weight back into the heels. And rock your weight forward and back like this a couple times until you feel like you find the center. So you might go a little more extreme as you started and then make it smaller, make the movement smaller until you find that you're balanced between the front and the back parts of your feet. Good, and with that relaxed sense of mountain pose, so shoulders relaxed, hands on the hips, make it just shift your weight into the right foot and maintain that little micro bend in the right knee. Maintain your mountain pose feeling throughout that side of the body and start to raise your left heel up off the floor. Now you might stay here with the toe touching down. Certainly you're starting to work the muscles of this standing leg and feel the balance, right? We can keep the toes down like a kickstand. If you're ready for more, the next time you exhale, I want you to draw the navel back and hover the knee up just until the thigh is parallel to the floor. And from here, if you feel stable, you can rotate the ankle a little bit and spread the toes. Keep your gaze soft. Feel that standing leg working and feeling the weight on the standing foot, staying right there in the center. Maybe it shifts a little bit, but for the most part, you're holding it right in the center. Good, and then set that left foot down. Move the hips a little bit side to side. Usually I feel that in the glute area, right? So let's try that on the other side. Again, finding your standing mountain pose by rocking a little bit forward and back. Feeling where is that place of balance, maintaining that as you start to shift into the left foot. Elongating through the left side, but keeping that micro bend in the left knee. So you're strengthening the muscles rather than relying on your joints to balance. We're going to bring the right heel up off the mat. And notice if there's a tendency to kind of kick that hip out to the side, suck it in. So there's a compactness in the hips. Remember, the toes can stay down here. This is perfectly fine. Most of the weight in the left foot, just the toes down, or as you exhale, you're going to contract the lower abdomen and bring the knee up a little higher. And just hanging out here for a couple breaths. You might discover one side is easier than the other. And again, if this is an option for you on this side, to spread out the toes, to move the ankle around. Good, and then set that foot back down. I'm going to take the feet out wide once again and just work through the hips a little bit. Oh, feels good to release that. So all the toes facing forward. We're going to bend the knees just a little bit and put the thumbs on the inside of the thighs, the fingers on the out. And just like we did in our halfway lift, I want you to press into your thighs so you can pull your chest forward. Good, so the shoulders are not coming up into the ears because you're using the strength of the arms to lengthen your body. Next time you exhale, take the left shoulder over toward the right knee and look behind you. And then inhale, come back to center, giving yourself that little lift. And then exhale, rotate the shoulder down, gaze over the left shoulder. And side to side like that a couple times. Good. When your sides are even, you'll pause in the center. Good. And then turn the heels to face out. Bend the knees slightly, coming into your wide forward fold. And then toe heel the feet in a little bit closer till they're underneath your hips. So you're back in a standard fold here. And we're gonna play a little bit with lengthening the sides of the body. So bend the knees a lot so you can touch something. Fingertips to the floor is fine. You can also use some blocks or some books if you have something to put your hands on. It's always helpful. So what you're going to do, I want you to think about lifting that tailbone up to the ceiling, keeping a little bend to your knees, keep all the toes facing forward, and keep your hips kind of level. And then you're gonna walk your hands, just your hands, over to the right side. And if you have your hands on blocks or something, you'll just push the blocks forward and inch your fingers forward. So if you're using without the blocks, you'll bend the knees more, come to the floor, and you're looking for the stretch in the left side of the body. Now, if you end up twisting your hips with the rest of your body, you're not going to feel that because you're bringing your lower body with you. So what you try as best you can to keep the hips where they are, and it's just the hands and the upper body stretching Keep pressing the tailbone up and back and relax the head. Then go ahead and bring the hands through center over to the other side. So hands to the left side. You might bring your attention to the right hip and pull it back away from the fingers. And again, let the head relax. And then inhale, walk the hands back to center. And from here, you're going to bend the knees a lot so you can bring the hands to the floor and step your feet back into downward facing dog. Remember to bend the knees a lot, the heels hovering above the floor, the fingers spread out, and you're pressing your thighs back to take all that weight off the hands. Next time you inhale, start to bring your knees to the floor, chest forward, almost as if you're coming into the cat pose. Let your knees drop down, untuck your toes, and bring your hips back into child's pose, hips toward your heels. If you like to widen the knees and move the big toes to touch, you can certainly do that. Try to rest your forehead on something. So if the forehead doesn't easily connect to the floor, fold your hands, stack your fists, use some blocks, whatever you need. Take a moment here in your child's pose to relax that tailbone and any other part of the body that might be gripping out of habit. Noticing the breath. How would you describe your breath? And again, no judgment, just an awareness and an observation. I'll take two more here. And on your next inhale, go ahead and lift your chest. We're going to come to a seated position where you swing your legs to the front of your mat or the front of your space. And we'll still keep that same hip width distance apart that we do for mountain pose in our seated staff pose. You're going to move to one side and move the flesh of your bottom out of the way, and then do that on the other side. So the sitting bones become really obvious here. And you're upright. You can always bend the knees a little bit here. You can flex or relax the toes. The more you pull the toes back to the face, the more intense the pose will be. So you do want to try to relax the tops of the thighs and hug the navel in ever so slightly, relaxing the tailbone so you can really feel the sitting bones grounded to the floor. And then we'll bring the arms to the sides and remind the arms with that little shake how nice it feels to have the shoulders back, the chest open. Good. Bring your gaze down toward your knees. You can close the eyes. We'll take 3 breaths here. And if the eyes are closed, bring them open. You're going to bring your right hand to the inside of the right knee, bring it out to the side. So the sole of the foot is against your left leg, and you can position it wherever it's most comfortable. Sometimes We like to bring it up high into above the knee. Other times it can feel a little bit better on the knee for the foot to be lower. And if the knee is up pretty high, then take a pillow or a block or something and just support that knee. We always want to protect the knees so that we don't do any damage here. So again, with the arms at the sides, this time I want you to think about this straight leg, right? So I want you to think about the straight leg. Take the center of the chest toward that knee. So there's a little bit of revolution happening here in the torso. As you inhale, sweep the arms forward and up. Good, and just check in with the lower half of the body. Keep descending the lower half of the body as you reach the hands up. Next time you exhale, start to reach your torso forward. Let the hands drop so that you don't round the upper back. Keep the chest lifted. And then you might even come up a little higher, taking the elbows back so you get more openness across the front of the chest. I want you to think about that initial movement, right? When we were open like that, we want to stay open here, hands to the floor, and then just tuck the chin. So you're looking down at the knee or the thigh. And every inhale, think about lifting the chest, broadening across the collarbones. Every exhale, descend the sitting bones and relax the tailbone. We'll take 2 more here. On your next inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. Let them help lift your torso back upright. And then exhale, pulling the arms apart. Lower the hands to the floor. Extend that right leg. Give the legs a shake out. And we'll do the same thing on the second side. So hand to the inside. Notice that when you pull the knee out to the side, where does the foot want to land? That's usually the best place to put it. And again, perhaps on one side, you'd like to have some support. Be where the knee is protected and comfortable. And then from here, center of the chest rotates toward the extended legs, knee. And then we inhale, sweep the arms out to the sides and up. Good. Let the sitting bones descend as you reach the arms up so you're getting taller, more lifted, heart to the sky. Then as you exhale, start to tip yourself forward. When you start to feel the upper body rounding, you want to keep that chest lifted. Let the hands come down. And then maybe even bring yourself up a little higher so the elbows can draw back. And we have this broadness across the chest. From here, just tuck the chin down. Gazing at the knee or the thigh. 3 breaths. Here you're pulling the right hip slightly back. You're lifting the chest, keeping it moving forward, and perhaps even relaxing the left knee toward the floor. On your next inhale, look up, sweep the arms forward, use them to help lift you up. And then exhale, opening the arms, letting the hands come to the floor. Straighten out the legs, give them a little shake. Good. Now, with the feet still facing forward, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me a little bit better. We're going to now have both legs in the staff pose, and we'll sweep the arms forward and up over the head. So as we lift the arms, again, relax the tailbone and the sitting bones down, and there might be a tendency for those low ribs to arch out, to flare out, so we get that cow pose in the back. I want you to draw the ribs in, which might even take the arms more forward, which is fine. Take another breath in as you descend the buttocks down and reach up through the fingers. And then as you exhale, start to reach yourself forward, chest toward the knees. When you start to feel that you might round through the upper back, let the arms come down. And you can place the hands either on the thighs or along the sides of the legs. And then from here, perhaps take yourself up just a smidge. So you can widen across the chest again, and then tuck your chin down to your chest, just like we did before. So there's one long line from the back of your head all the way down to the lower back. Good, breathe here. You can soften the knees a little bit. You can release the flexing of the feet. Find a balance between working and letting it be peaceful and relaxing. Next time you inhale, sweep your arms forward and use them to help you lift your torso back up. Exhale, let the arms come back down to the sides of your body. And then go ahead and bend your knees, make your way onto your back. Make your way onto your back. And bring your knees up into your chest. And rock a bit from side to side. You can move the knees a little bit forward and back, whatever you need to let the back feel comfortable. Good, and then place the feet one at a time back to the floor. Still hip width distance apart, feet a little bit close to your bottom so you can bring some weight into the feet. The arms down along the sides, and if you have the potential to grab a hold of the sides of your mat, so actually hold onto the sides of your mat with your hands and grip it, and then imagine as though, or actually do it, pull your mat apart. So pull it wide from side to side and feel how that kind of lifts the chest. It'll press the backs of the shoulders into the floor and will create this opening and this lifting of the chest toward the chin. All right, so as you press the arms down into the floor, pull the mat apart. Next time you inhale, press into the feet, lift the hips, keep pulling the mat apart with the hands. Keep the eyes up toward the ceiling. Take a deep breath in here as you're lifted, and then breath out. Slowly start to lower your hips, thinking about your tailbone moving forward toward your heels. So you're creating some length in the back as you lower. We'll do that again. Inhale, pulling the mat apart. Press the arms down. Press the feet into the mat. Press the shins forward, lifting the hips. Good, and as you exhale, think about tailbone moving toward heels. You're lowering nice and slow. Good, we'll do that one more time, using the arms as well as the feet as you inhale to lift. And then next time the hips come down to the floor, you can release the grip on your mat. And notice what your body needs. You might want to bring knees up into the chest again. Alternatively, you might feel like a full body stretch with the legs extended, the arms overhead would be a good choice. It's all up to you in this moment. And try not to think too much about it. The body generally knows exactly what would feel good. It doesn't even have to look like a yoga pose. You can just do some small movements. And when you're ready to be still, then arrange yourself in a position that allows you to be comfortable. So traditionally, Shavasana done lying on the back with the legs extended, arms down along the sides of the body, a little bit away from the body, and the palms facing up to allow that openness across the chest. And taking any last minute wiggles or adjustments. Settling into your posture. Letting your body be as heavy as possible on your mat. As the eyes close and soften, so too does the forehead and the jaw. The upper back, the wrists, the low back, the hips, and the leg muscles softening. Any gripping in the feet or the toes, letting go. Whole body relaxing and being. If you're lying flat on your back, start to bring your feet flat to your mat. And gently swish the knees from side to side. No particular amount you have to go, but knees bent, feet flat, knees sway. And then let the knees remain still. Next time you inhale, snow angel your arms up above your head. And then exhale, bring them back down to the sides. And do that a couple more times, waking up the upper body. Keeping the backs of the hands, the backs of the elbows along the floor. Go ahead, do one more like this. Arms skim the floor, reach up over the head, and as you exhale, they come down. And rock yourself now onto one side of your body, curling up on your side as if you were about to go to sleep. You can bring the hands underneath your head and feel the breath for at least one inhalation and one exhalation. Thank yourself for your practice today. So important to move our body and become aware of what's happening with our breath. And start to bring yourself slowly and gently back up to an upright seat. Take your time. And you might end the way we started, in that same position. Again, feeling the weight of the sitting bones, the relaxed tailbone rooting you to the floor. Arms relaxed, chest open and lifted. And just take a moment here. Bring the palms together in front of your heart center with that gentle press of all the fingers. Breath in through the nose and let it out with a sigh. Thank you. Namaste.